Very much, Permanent Secretary and Chairman. Colleague ministers that are here this evening, our colleague partners, from ICA, CTA, CARICOM, and members from the Caribbean Media Corporation, other dignitaries, invited guests, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Now, yes, good. This has to be the most liveliest Caribbean week of agriculture ever. I want no one sad, no one angry, everybody living in love together for this rest of this week, enjoying Antigua to the fullest. I want to congratulate the chairman from the Caribbean Media Corporation for his remarks, and that he remembers the charge that was given to them yesterday, and that is to focus on agriculture. With all its problems, and the importance of agriculture to our survival, the importance of us feeding ourselves in the region, and how we can achieve these objectives with the assistance of the media. This is a very important week for all of us. Tonight we are opening this workshop on climate change. For the last 3.5 years, in all the meetings I've attended around the region, I hear talk of climate change, global warming, and the rest of it. There seem to be a lot of organizations targeting climate change and focusing on it. My advice to all of us is that it is a real thing for the Caribbean. In Antigua, we see coastal degradation. We once had 365 beaches, and some of those beaches are now rocks. We've seen what happened to the difficulties fishing folks are having out in the ocean. And they're claiming that all these problems they're having is caused by climate change and global warming. We've seen invasive species come in our waters, like the lionfish and other invasive species. In Antigua, we've seen all kinds of changes in our country. We've seen a Cuban frog that we've never seen before. We've seen a kind of snail that's taking over crops and eating vegetables like crazy. Some persons say they're African snails and we can eat them, but we never eat them around here, so we're not trying. And so we've seen a lot of problems. Now the last one is the danger in our palms. Whether it came from Miami or it came from wherever, it's here. So we've got to curtail the importation of palms for a while we try to tackle the problem of little yellowing and the palm mite. In my own yard, I had to cut down about 8 coconut trees and burn them. And I can plant them back, but this idea of getting antibiotics to pump into trees is very an expensive exercise that I'm afraid of, so I can't afford it, so I just cut them down and burn them and plant back more. I went to Jumbi Bay yesterday, and the manager's concerned is how he's going to treat thousands and thousands of palm trees. And so I tell him, go to Jamaica. They have had the problem, and they have solved the problem, and they have a palm coconut tree that is now immune to those diseases. So go to Jamaica and bring in some new palms and plant them now before you cut down the others, so we can keep your beauty going in your hotel. And this is to show that it is real. Climate change is not just the glaciers around someplace around the world that we didn't never see nor heard of. To us, it's about this hurricane and flood and droughts that we experience on a regular basis. It's the pests that come with the weather and all the rest of it that damage our crops and so on, damage our trees and our flora and fauna around the Caribbean. And so we've got to be very careful when we must have our own concept of climate change. And so all the organizations that are dealing with this must be able to focus on the Caribbean itself. I want to thank Cardi, who has been working in the region, in the research in the region for several years, to have helped us in Antigua all these years with making sure we understand what climate change will do to us if we don't take charge of agriculture in the right way. And Cardi has been there with us. I want to thank Dr. Chesney and his team for what they have done and continue to do for the region. I asked all the international organizations to understand what Cardi does and to give them the support necessary to continue the good work they're doing for the region. I went to SIP in Peru, and my mind was blown with what I see there. The research is phenomenal on tubers and all root crops. I've seen the amount of germplasm they have in store, and I've asked Dr. Villalobos from ICA to assist us to put a center like that in the region, in the Eastern Caribbean, for white potato, sweet potato, cassava. They have revolutionized sweet potato in Peru, and they have taken it to the yellow sweet potato into Africa, since it's rich in nutrients to feed people in Africa. We in the Caribbean need the same thing. We have our problems in the region in terms of, and I keep talking about farmers because my heart goes out to them with the difficulties they're having, and I'm serious about this. When FAO did the study, and we found out that 25% of all crops, from mangoes to sweet potato to cattle and goat and fish stock in the region, in the sea, every part of those have been stolen. 25% of their catch has been stolen. 25% of the goats and sheep and cattle that is reared in the region has been stolen. 25% of the crop has been stolen. I spoke here yesterday, and yesterday, a gentleman have about 4 acres of cabbage. He sprayed 1/2 of the cabbage yesterday morning from worm and other insects. And yesterday afternoon, somebody went and stole half of what he sprayed. And those cabbage will end up in the food chain at some point with the spray and them. Thank God the police caught them and were able to confiscate them. That's how dangerous it is out there. They're taking food that was sprayed yesterday, today, but it should stay in the field for several days before you reap it. They don't know. And they're taking it and selling it and end up in the food chain. It is dangerous. And as Minister of Agriculture in Antigua, I get nervous because a lot of people can get killed from that. And I'm worried about it. I'm very, very worried. Our meeting with the police here, and I know several countries in the region have gone to the police for help. We've got to come together, and I want CTA and everybody to think about how we can harmonize some legislation in the region to give the police power to act. I told you yesterday there's a gentleman that lost 162 root of cassava. Each root is about 20 pounds. Each root produced about 20 pounds of cassava long like this. 162 roots somebody pulled. And when he caught them, the police said he can't prove it's his cassava. And he must take some soil from the cassava and get some soil from his farm to take to the lab to be tested to prove it was his cassava. Now, this poor man is a farmer. He don't know anything about science and testing and all of this. If the police should do that. And then they said there's no law that forces them to do X and X, Y, and so. I don't know how that goes, but we need to find some law so we can make sure farmers are protected I feel embarrassed as a minister, encouraging farmers to produce. And then when they produce, they're having all these problems. When they're plowing, they have no problem. When they're cutting down the shrubs and the trees, they have no problem. When they're planting, they have no problem. When they're fertigating or fertilizing or watering, they have no problem. When the water bill comes, they have no problem but paying it. But when time comes to reap, people are going in the fields with guns and threatening them to get out so they can reap the crop. This is something I'm nervous about. How do we deal with those practical issues in the region? And you cannot stay in an office and solve those problems. So in Antigua, what we're doing is giving farmers a chance to live on their lands so they can become added security to their farm and their crops, and give them long-term lease on these lands, and hope that their children will grow up and continue to farm from generation to generation, and or making sure farmers have identification. And workshop after workshop, teaching the hotels and restaurants and supermarkets who are buying this stolen product what to look for before they buy this produce, and make sure persons present their license, and hope we can then catch some of the culprits. But global warming and climate change is real in the region. I want us to focus on that and make sure that we focus on the region itself, on the issues relating that affect the region as it relates to global warming and climate change. It is real. One hurricane coming in the region, it can wipe out the farmer, can wipe him out. But we're lucky. Our farmers are very resilient. 6 weeks after Hurricane Antigua, we can start eating food again. How they do it, I don't know. It's love for the soil, love for farming, whatever it is. But once hurricane comes, 6 weeks after, you can guarantee you're going to start getting food again from the farm. And they do it. But going there the day after the storm, you wonder how they will ever begin to start function again. And so I feel bad sometimes because I don't have the resources to assist them. We don't have the tractors to plow fast. We don't have enough seeds to share with them or fertilizer. Thanks to the government of Morocco, King of Morocco, last year we got 2 containers of fertilizer. We begged them to help us with some fertilizer after the storm when the soil was leached out from all the water. And we expect to get some more very soon to assist the farmers. So we give them cheap or free fertilizer to assist them or to encourage them. And government is now reducing the price of their lands for farmers to encourage more first persons to go into agriculture. From January to June of this year, we got 72 new farmers. 180 acres, new acres have been plowed. So we're lucky. We're getting younger for persons in agriculture. But we've got to give them training to understand what the element is all about, how climate change will affect them, how to cope with it and how to deal with it. Because I know one crop that go bad can turn them off. So we've got to give them encouragement. I want to thank the regional organization for supporting us, ICA, CARDI, CARICOM, and FAO, to name a few. You've always been there for us, and when we ask for help, you're there for us. I want to thank you very much from the Ministry of Agriculture. For those organizations who helped to make this week of activity what it will be, successful, I hope. Thank you very much for your assistance. Give them a big hand, please. And I want to make this year a different Caribbean Week of Agriculture, where we get real and focus on the real issues that affect the lives of Caribbean people. What's coming close to home now is that the world is finding food are experiencing food shortage around the world. And you know what happened when the big countries suffer? We suffer too. But God has blessed us with earth, the earth we have here in the Caribbean, and particularly blessed the earth for us, so everything we plant grows. All we have to do is to manage it well, and we can feed ourselves. I believe that if we manage the earth that God has given to us, we can feed ourselves and help some of the big countries with the excess and bring food costs down, bring the price down low because of mass production. We must make agriculture attractive to the investors who want to invest in it. When you look at our poultry consumption in Antigua, it's $70 million a year. $70 million a year we spend on poultry import. Why shouldn't some investor come and invest in that? You're guaranteed a greater return than leaving your money in the bank. $300 million worth of food US we import into Antigua every year. It's a wonderful chance to invest in it. And the government and minister will guarantee the marketplace in the region for you. And the rest of the Caribbean should guarantee the marketplace also for the excess. Don't tell me you prefer to buy onion from Belgium than Antigua, in Guyana or Jamaica or Trinidad. Don't tell me that and then you want me to be a CARICOM brother. Buy it from me first. And we must begin to look at that whole scenario very serious. Our trade, our not just come to meetings and talk. Show it in our action. You have bananas rotting in Grenada, while some banana come from Miami. Why are we doing that? Let's get real about the region. Do we love the region, care about the region? What we consume, do we care about that? Why are we getting onion from Belgium and from France? Some little brown onions are rotten on the inside. Well, we can grow our own here in the region. Basil, chive, thyme, parsley. Why are they coming from elsewhere out of the region? When God has blessed us with the best soil in the world, and I'm passionate about this, there is no need for us to do that. Let's believe in ourselves. Our farmers are confused because they don't think the people who lead them believe in them. Believe in them enough to guarantee the marketplace for them. So when they grow their food, they don't have to throw it away, because it's so-called glut. We should never have glut in the Caribbean. If we don't use now, export it somewhere else. Some other regions should know it. It's computers we have now and all kind of iNet and iPad and iThis and i the other. We can then communicate with our brothers and sisters to the region and know where we need them and ship them there. Trade in the region is needed. We talk about it for the last 20 years, but nobody do nothing. Nobody have done nothing about trade. So all the excess stay in your country and rotten. And then we import from elsewhere. We are killing our farmers by not showing appreciation for their hard work and their productivity. So in your deliberations throughout the week, think about these things. Think about them. And let's get real in our action in the region. I want to tell you that this year we wanted to have Queen of Agriculture show. And so we select several young ladies to represent 6 zones in Antigua. And as I charge them to look at the zones, go look, see what's going on in there, and truly represent agriculture. Whatever we have to do to promote agriculture, we will do it in Antigua and Barbuda. Every child should know that we must grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Every primary school child must know this. So when you go to the supermarket, you ask the question, where does this come from, before you buy it. If you come from Antigua, buy it quick. come from Russia, ask questions and read the label closer to see what's in it. But you can have faith in what we produce. So buy what we grow first and eat what we grow first. Think about the rest. That's what I want to teach every young child in Antigua and Barbuda. And those our brothers and sisters from the region should begin to do the same thing. Now all this will be down to confidence in our farmers, belief in our farmers, and support for our farmers. We must eat what we grow, strive to feed ourselves. The main objective, try to feed ourselves. I want to welcome all of you once again to Antigua, and let us have a wonderful week. Thank you very much.